Chocolate should be the easiest reward. Snap, melt, done. But the bar you grabbed last week could be hiding lead and cadmium you'll never taste. And for kids, that risk hits harder. We've been digging through lab testing and safety reporting. And we found 9 chocolate brands you must avoid and 2 that are excellent. Number 9, Mars bar. Mars sells comfort, but it's built like a fast sugar system. On the Mars nutrition spec, 100 grams lands at 448 calories with 63.3 grams of carbohydrates, 56.2 grams of sugars and 7.5 grams of saturated fat. That combo matters because it's the exact setup that makes a bar disappear fast. Sugar hits first, fat makes it feel richer, and your brain learns the pattern. Over time, frequent high-sugar snacking is strongly tied to tooth decay, and it's also the kind of routine that makes weight gain and insulin resistance more likely, especially if it becomes your daily little reward. Mars also uses the classic confectionery build, including glucose syrup and palm fat, alongside sugar and milk ingredients. And here's the thing, the UK has been tightening how it treats junk food marketing, with major restrictions on HFSS advertising repeatedly debated and delayed because products like this sit right in that high sugar, high fat zone. If you love Mars, fine. Just don't let it become the automatic bar you grab without thinking. Number 8. KitKat 4-finger. KitKat feels lighter because wafer reads as a snack, not candy bar. But the label tells you what it actually does. Tesco's listing shows 514 calories per 100 grams, with 26.9 grams of fat, 15.2 grams of saturated fat, and 52.4 grams of sugars. Ingredients-wise, it's not just cocoa and milk. It's a structured sweet system. Sugar, wheat flour, vegetable fats, including palm and shea, plus emulsifiers and flavorings to keep the bite smooth and moreish. Lots of sugar fuels bone decay and makes cravings louder, while high saturated fat can push LDL cholesterol upward if your overall diet already runs heavy on it. The wafer crunch also speeds you up. You chew less, finish faster, and your brain doesn't get a strong stop signal. And again, this is exactly the sort of product that sits under the UK's ongoing HFSS marketing crackdown discussions because it's engineered for frequent, easy overconsumption. Number 7, Milka Oreo and similar filled bars. This is where chocolate stops acting like chocolate and starts acting like dessert, filling with a chocolate costume. The product listing shows 539 calories per 100 grams, 30 grams of fat, 17 grams of saturated fat, and 52 grams of sugars. That is a lot for something that tastes soft and goes down easy. The ingredient list explains why it feels so effortless to finish: multiple sugar sources, whey powder, cocoa butter, and a filling system that keeps your mouth entertained, including glucose, fructose, syrup, and palm fat in the Oreo biscuit component. Long term, making bars like this your default treat is associated with a higher risk pattern for weight gain and poorer cardiometabolic health. And the sugar load keeps the pressure on dental health too. The danger isn't one bar, it's the way it trains your routine. You stop treating it like sometimes because it feels so smooth and harmless. Number 6, Cadbury Dairy Milk. And this one is culture in a wrapper, which is exactly why it becomes a habit. Cadbury's own nutrition panel puts dairy milk at 534 calories per 100 grams, with 30 grams of fat, 18 grams of saturated fat, and 56 grams of sugars. That is not a little treat if you eat it most days, and the saturated fat piece matters. If your overall diet is already saturated fat heavy, stacking a bar like this nightly is one of the simplest ways to keep LDL cholesterol trending the wrong way. The ingredient list also shows it's not just cocoa and milk. It includes vegetable fats like palm and shea, plus emulsifiers such as E442 and E476 to keep the texture ultra smooth and the melt consistent. Dairy milk isn't poisonous, it's just engineered to be easy to overeat, and that's why it quietly becomes a daily sugar routine. Number 5, Kinder chocolate. The Kinder is marketed like it's made for kids, but the nutrition profile is exactly what hits kids hardest when it becomes a routine. Tesco's listing shows 566 calories per 100 grams, 35 grams of fat, 23.1 grams of saturated fat, and 54.4 grams of sugars. The ingredient list makes the identity clear. It's a milk-heavy sweet confection with cocoa as the background note, not the star. When something that's sweet and that's saturated fat heavy becomes a normal after-lunch thing, it's linked to higher risk of tooth decay, and it can lock in a reward pattern where mild sweetness becomes the baseline expectation. And yes, Kinder has also had a very real safety moment in the public mind. The widely reported 2022 salmonella-linked recalls made a lot of parents suddenly remember that kid-branded does not mean risk-free. Even if you separate that from nutrition, the core point stays the same. This is not everyday fuel, especially for children. Number 4, Cadbury Bournville Classic Dark. Bournville gets chosen as the grown-up swap, and that's where the risk flips. The nutrition tracker listing puts it around 492 calories per 100 grams, with 21 grams of fat, 13 grams of saturated fat, and 53 grams of sugars. So it's not automatically a lower sugar health move the way people assume, but the bigger issue is category risk. Dark chocolate is the lane where the heavy metals conversation keeps showing up, because cocoa solids can carry lead and cadmium depending on soil and processing, and you cannot taste either one. Consumer Reports testing coverage is the headline version of that warning. Dark chocolate across brands can contain detectable levels of these metals, and repeated exposure is what matters. Lead is especially concerning for children's development, and cadmium is the one tied to long-term accumulation concerns like kidney and bone effects. So if a dark bar brand doesn't publish credible testing data, you're guessing, and guessing is the exact opposite of why people buy dark in the first place. Number 3. Aldi Moser Roth Dark 70%. This one isn't about a scandal, it's about the information gap. Nutritionally, it's still a dense bar. A nutrition listing puts Moser Roth 70% at roughly 600 calories per 100 grams, with fat doing a lot of the lifting. And like most 70% bars, it's easy to turn into a nightly ritual because it feels cleaner than milk chocolate. The issue is that dark chocolate is the category where the invisible risk matters most. Lead and cadmium don't show up as a taste. They don't announce themselves with smell. And when brands don't publish heavy metal testing, you can't tell whether you're buying a clean bar or rolling the dice. Consumer Reports reporting is the reason people even know to ask the question, because testing has shown the metals can be present across many dark bars, and it's the repeated exposure pattern that raises concern. If you want a 70% bar often, the safest play is choosing brands that actually show you proof, not just a nice wrapper and a great price. Now here is the reset that saves you money, panic, and fake health swaps. Dark chocolate is not automatically safe, it is just a different trade. It can be lower sugar than milk chocolate, but it is still calorie dense and often high in saturated fat, and higher cacao can increase the importance of heavy metal testing, not reduce it. Number 2, Montezuma's chocolate. Dark chocolate is where the risk plays dirty because you cannot taste it coming. A clean bar and a contaminated bar can melt the same, snap the same, and leave you just as confident while you quietly stack exposure over time. That's why Montezuma's stands out. They actually address the heavy metals issue instead of hiding behind silence. And they keep the bar feeling like chocolate, so you are less likely to get that sharp sugar hit pattern that pulls you into automatic snacking. Still, this is dark chocolate, not diet food. It is calorie dense, it is fat heavy, and it works best when you treat it like a deliberate treat. The difference is simple. You're buying a bar with receipts, not just a pretty wrapper, and a story. Number 1, Divine Dark Chocolate 70%. Divine is the safe pick for the best reason possible. It is boring in the right way. It is a straight 70% dark bar with a more restrained sugar profile than most mainstream comfort chocolate, and UK coverage has highlighted it as one of the better options to default to when you want dark chocolate without turning every square into a gamble. And the ethics side is not just marketing fluff either. Divine is structured around farmer ownership through Kwapa Koku in Ghana. This is exactly the kind of incentive alignment you want in a product where quality control actually matters. Taste-wise, it is proper dark chocolate. Cocoa forward, smooth, not trying to distract you with fillings and flavor tricks. That is important because the easiest chocolate to overeat is the one engineered for non-stop reward. So here's the real takeaway. Chocolate isn't the villain. The aisle is. Half the normal bars are built to vanish fast and keep you chasing that same sweet hit again tomorrow. And a lot of healthy dark chocolate only earns that label if the company treats safety like part of the product, not part of the branding. If you want the easy upgrade path, stick to Montezuma's and Divine. And if you want more quick label breakdowns like this, subscribe and tell us in the comments which chocolate brand shocked you most.